Boxing Truth here. Bob Arum is trying to entice Jeff Horn to sign a long-term agreement to Top Rank, as Arum has doubts and worries that Jeff Horn might as well annihilate Terence Crawford, trash him on U.S. soil. It's getting late in the game. The fight's not officially announced. It's February 16th. The fight is scheduled for April 14th. There's been a change in venue. So if the fight's not announced within the next week, there could be some worries about this fight taking place. But it seems set. The fight's going to go down in Las Vegas, Mandalay Bay as a possible venue. They're pretty much just waiting on Manny Pacquiao, who was supposedly going to be on the undercard, to sign off on the deal to fight Alvarado. So that's pretty much the holdup. But Bob Arum has he's got the plan in place to lock Horn for a long-term agreement, just to be safe, just in case Jeff Horn pulls out another shocker. Well, amongst most boxing fans, Jeff Horn has been disrespected, being seen as a food for Terence Crawford. It's being seen as easy work, and the odds makers have Crawford as heavy as I think a 25-1 favorite, and Horn as high as a 13-1 dog. So those odds did shock me initially when I first saw the odds open up for this proposed fight between Horn and Crawford. But it's just gonna make confident fans of Horn into getting pretty good paydays for just a small wager. Even a $25 wager translated to a decent payday. So it's going to be a lot of confident Horn fans that are going to place that wager, myself included. Those odds just too good to pass up, and Horn is much better than the 13-1 dog, much more liver than a 13-1 dog. To me, he's the favorite. But of course, having to travel to Las Vegas, Arum pretty much wants Crawford to win. But just in case, he's going to try to entice him into a long-term deal. Now, this is what Bob Arum is going to do, what he's going to propose, what he's done in the past with a certain number of his clients. He's going to offer Jeff Horn a career-high payday to fight Terence Crawford. And the purse is going to be even more than what he got in 2 fights combined against Manny Pacquiao and Gary Corrigan. So it's being reported he's going to get $2 million in Australian money. That's about over 1.5 million, close to $2 million in American dollars, just to fight Terence Crawford and defend his strap in Las Vegas. But the catch is, he has to sign a long-term agreement, and if he doesn't agree to the long-term agreement, then Bob Arum's going to shortchange him. It's going to offer him like barely 7 figures, maybe even less, to fight Terence Crawford, because even though the fight's in Vegas, it's not really if they do go on pay-per-view, I don't think it does extravagant numbers. Horn's never fought in the US. Crawford does 50K pay-per-view buys. Manny Pacquiao, if he does fight on the undercard, could add some buys, but he's fighting a uninteresting opponent if he does fight Alvarado. So that doesn't really translate to big business on the pay-per-view market. So Bob, he's going to do what he did to Chavez Jr., offer him a really big purse to fight a big name when they were in talks to fight Golovkin. But Chavez didn't want to resign to another agreement, so Bob Arum shortchanged him, and that's why that fight didn't happen. So Horn is most likely going to have to sign a long-term deal, but he'll get a chance to shock the naysayers, to say that he's easy work for Crawford. You get a chance to prove that he's among the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world by beating a overrated fighter who is getting a lot of praise for beating lightweights and winning vacant titles and beating unknown champions. But he's had good performances against the okay fighters that he's beaten, and he's looked good in a number of fights against certain level of opponents. But he's being considered as number 1, number 2. And Horn beating him, adding his name, Crawford's name, to his resume, will hopefully get him the respect that he craves, and finally get some props and actually be recognized as one of the top threats in the welterweight division, and not just talk about Thurman, Spence, and Crawford. You also got to talk about Jeff Horn. He's the guy with the actual big win in the welterweight division, a win over Manny Pacquiao. So adding Crawford to his resume is only going to strengthen Horn's case that he's the true number 1 welterweight, that he has a stronger claim as the best welterweight, since he has 2 pound-for-pound level fighters on his resume in Crawford and Manny Pacquiao. How can you deny Jeff Horn's credentials if he was to beat and trash Terence Crawford in Las Vegas? He will make a lot of Crawford fanboys eat their words, and pretty much all the boxing media to eat their words. So, looking forward to the fight. Horn is taking the fight very seriously. He had a bad camp against Gary Corrigan, was overweight, had a cut during in mid-camp, couldn't really spar for a number of weeks. Didn't have his best performance, but was able to outclass Corrigan and stop him late in what was pretty much one of his weaker performances of his career. He had a bad camp, but for this camp, he's much lighter, about 162, 163 pounds currently. Doesn't have to burn as much weight, won't be as overweight as he usually is, and trying to boil down to 147 pounds. So Horn is going to be ready. He's going to be at his absolute best. He's going to be super fast, razor sharp. He's going to be very strong, much fitter for the bout, and he's got a lot of wrinkles in his game. He's got a lot of tools. He's going to surprise Terence Crawford with his footwork, his angles. He's going to be switching from orthodox to southpaw as well. Horn is also capable of doing that, even though Crawford usually only fights from the southpaw stance most of the times. But Horn has a great opportunity to be a conqueror of considered pound-for-pound fighters, traveling the world, going across the seas, going in hostile territory, and pretty much add another strong name to his resume. And Horn, he's very ambitious, man. I like the way he talks. Willing to fight. He wants to fight all the big names. Wants to fight Canelo once he is finished with his journey in the welterweight division. Don't see too many fights at this weight because he is a big guy. He has to boil down to 147 pounds. But there's a lot to look forward to in Jeff Horn's career. If he beats Terence Crawford, Amir Khan could be in the mix. That fight's being talked about. A Pacquiao rematch could be in the mix. It remains to be seen if Thurman and Spence fights can be made, but there's definitely other big fights out there for Jeff Horn if he gets past this assignment and defeats Terence Crawford in what would be a very big upset. Or he was as high as a 13-1 dog. A $50 wager gets you about $700 in return. So Jeff Horn is definitely worth the bet. Just a small wager at that. I might even put a little more. That's how confident I am of Horn's abilities. He is on Boxing Truth pound-for-pound lists. And with this win over Crawford, I won't give him that much props. Because to me, if he beats Terence Crawford and he does it in impressive fashion, he beat a hype job. But a good fighter who was just overrated in the first fight of his welterweight division. So Bob Arum is playing his card safe. He's definitely worried that Horn's going to trash Crawford. So just in case, he's going to offer him a career-high purse and lock him to a long-term deal. It's just the way the boxing business works. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.